Hello, everyone, and welcome to all of you who are around the world watching our event. It's the second Nordhavn Film Festival. My name is Jenny Stern, and I am Director of Marketing for Nordhavn. This is the only boat brand-centric event, and we are excited to be hosting. I'm here at Nordhavn World Headquarters in less than sunny Dana Point, California. That's okay. All the heat is in the tent behind me. Everyone is really excited about what's about to happen tonight. So let's go check it out. I'm here right now with John Ellis, one of the filmmakers competing tonight. John just took delivery of his Nordhavn 68 about a year ago.
It's been about 10 months since we actually took delivery of it.
And I have watched a few of your movies that you have on your YouTube channel, and you seem to know what you're doing.
You know, YouTube has just become kind of a passion project for me. It's, I mean, it all started when we had kids. I mean, who doesn't run around with their kids with a video camera chasing them? But what I realized pretty early on is nobody wants to watch your kids' videos unless they're interesting. So then came, putting the music to them and editing them and trying to step them up a little bit more and more. And I think that's what allowed me to explore into other things. And then I started, taking cameras underwater and taking them on other trips. And then the drone showed up, and so I started amassing all of this gear, and I started an editing habit, kind of on the smaller scale. But when the boat sort of came along, I knew that we were going to do, something, because we had watched so many other channels and so many other people and were inspired by this content, and that connection in 3 dimensions and these experiences where people have them that we really, really wanted. We kind of knew that we were going to wind up sharing or giving back in the same sort of way. So
when you saw that we were holding the second Nordhavn Film Festival, was there no question that you were going to be involved?
There was no question. I might have boasted a couple of times about making a showing, and Eric will have to tell you about that. But yeah, I knew that it was going to happen, and that if you guys were going to do it again, and if everything went well with the boat, and I wasn't too overwhelmed with new ownership, which I haven't been. We've just had some great adventures, and we really do believe that the boat has great karma. That these experiences that we're having has a lot to do with the with the chi in the boat, the energy, the whales that we've seen and the experiences that we had and the fish that we've caught and the diving that we've done, all of it in just such a short period of time, has so much to do with, just the boat, really.
Well, we can't wait to see the enthusiasm that you put into your film tonight. So good luck to you, John.
I hope you like it. Thank you.
I'm here with Ella Hummel, one of the youngest filmmakers competing here tonight. Ella, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. This has been such an amazing opportunity.
Have you made movies before, or is this your first one?
Never. I've never done anything like this before. It was such a learning experience because at the beginning, I didn't really know how to save my progress, so I had to keep restarting. But after I finally got some of the skills down, I was able to create the video, and I'm really proud of it.
So this is kind of a big deal for you to start your first movie ever. Why did you decide to do this when you didn't really have experience before?
So my family had watched some of the previous videos from the 2019 Film Festival, and we were really inspired by it, and I wanted to capture some of the memories from our maiden voyage on our boat. And it was just really a way to capture this past summer, especially since my family were very divided. We live on 2 different sides of the country. In the summertime is the time where we can get together and spend time together, and being on the boat has brought us so much closer together.
So what are we going to see, without giving too much away? What are we going to see with your film tonight?
Hopefully just a capsule of some memories from this past summer, and hopefully I'm able to share how amazing this past summer has been on our boat.
Great, thank you, Emma. Good luck. I'm here with Kate Humphreys. Kate was a judge in our last film festival, and she's returning this time as head judge. Kate, welcome back.
Thank you, Jenny. It's fantastic to be back in Dana Point.
What brought you back?
Because it's so much fun. Wouldn't have missed it for the world. I think we had such a great time in 2019, and it's bigger and better this year, and will continue to be as time goes on. I think this is the Nordhavn Film Festival has become a boating industry tradition. It's a benchmark, I think, for the whole of the marine industry.
How has the judging process, if it has been different, how has it been different this time around?
Well, I'll say what is the same is the sense of community and how connected everybody is in the Nordhavn world. For me, living on the other side of the world, I probably feel more connected than ever, particularly going through COVID. I think, though, from a judging perspective, what's different this time is that we were so collaborative in thinking about the criteria. I feel like the judges know each other really well. We got together many times. We had really fun conversation. There was definitely debate, but ultimately we all agreed on how we were going to assess each of the films, and ultimately we've judged against the criteria, but it's the audience that gets to decide who wins the beautiful trophy tonight, and I think that's a really good outcome.
That's true. Well, none of us envy the tough job you had, but we're all excited to see who you picked. Thank you, Kate.
Wonderful to be here.
Time is slowly fleeting. It's fleeting for you. What can you do? Define the sun, and each has different meaning. To the judge, the light redeems. Not one to siege control. Like the shining.
What you've just seen playing is one of our favorite videos. The most basic of editing and in low resolution, but it captures the pleasure of a wonderful voyage from California to Hawaii, one of the nicest and longest of the world's ocean passages. 2 weeks of life aboard Eliana, a Nordhavn 76, with 5 close friends, running off the California coast in November and sweeping south and west to warming water and balmy trade winds. It just doesn't get any better than that. This is a simple video filmed over a decade ago with one camera and edited with a laptop camera using virtually free software. But it's one I go back to time and time again, and is the sort of video that inspired me when we first came up with the idea of creating the Nordhavn Film Festival back in 2018. To have films as simple as While Time is Slowly Fleeting or as sophisticated as some of those that were winners in the film festival of or in 2019, is of little consequence when the story is the shining star. Tonight we will see films of varying production value, but whose messages of cruising on a Nordhavn is what makes them special. Proof that with good content, a great film can be produced. So hello everyone, I'm Jim Leishman, and on behalf of myself, Dan Streech, and Jeff Leishman, we welcome you to the Nordhavn Film Festival. It's been 3 years since our first event. It was this time in 2019, after an incredible show, that we bid our audience farewell, anticipating that by 2020 we'd have enough films to host the second film festival. Little did we know that within weeks we would find ourselves caught up in an international historical pandemic that would have profound impact on your cruising and our Nordhavn production and sales. Who could have anticipated that having an event like this in 2020 virtually would have been illegal and probably highly criticized in 2021. Within months, many countries and borders were locked down, preventing passage, which curtailed many of your cruising plans, and we at PAE were bracing for order cancellations and a reduction in sales. While the pandemic negatively affected most Nordhavn owners, uncomfortable to leave the dock, in some cases not even able to get to their boats, it also served to increase their desire to do so. In fact, cruising aboard a Nordhavn became even more attractive to non-Nordhavn owners. The aspect of being self-sufficient and safe for months within the protection of a strong and comfortable vessel, capable of thousands of miles of travel between fueling, all served to enhance the appeal of Nordhavn. Contrary to our concerns, the years that followed saw an increase in Nordhavn sales and production, with new models being introduced, a huge backlog of orders, new factories established. It's been a time of prosperity for us here at PAE. This past year, the cruising restrictions are almost non-existent and the world's cruising grounds are reopening, and for us, it's a time to celebrate. We recognize the value of our influential and happy owners everywhere that graciously show off their Nordhavns and promote the cruising lifestyle. This is happening around the clock and worldwide. Combined with Nordhavn owners' enthusiastic blogs, videos, and social media postings, they effectively eclipse expensive media campaigns, exorbitant boat shows, or virtually anything else that PAE can do. And for that gift to us, we are very, very appreciative. So tonight we'll be showing 10 films produced by Nordhavn owners, crew members, friends, past owners, and even just people who love Nordhavns. There will be awards for the best cinematography, comedic content, and documentary style. These films are being judged by a panel of volunteers here tonight. However, the highest award will be decided upon you, the audience. I'd like to give special thanks to our talented creators of the fantastic films submitted. I've watched them all and love the cinematography, the stories, the inspirations that they convey, and I'll watch them over and over again. And they will be viewed by hundreds of thousands of people, many, many times for years to come, by an audience of international enthusiasts. So before we proceed, I wanted to take a moment to thank the dedicated team members here at Nordhavn that have worked so hard to bring this event to life. Firstly, I want to thank Amy Zara, our marketing manager, who has worked She's worked tirelessly for weeks, tending to and overseeing virtually every detail of our event. To Jenny Stern from our Northeast office. Jenny is our marketing director who has promoted the festival to the public and media since the beginning, oversaw communications to the filmmakers, and worked with the judges. Thank you, Jenny, wherever you are. Special thanks to Doug Harlow, our terrific head of media arts. and videographer who assisted filmmakers with video tips and is in charge of the broadcast of tonight's premiere, which will be available to watch online tomorrow. Thank you, Doug. To Susan Rigolet and Sue Ferrari, valued members of our administration team, who have worked tirelessly on so many tasks behind the scenes. Special thanks to Sky Scott, our COO, who oversaw arrangements and wrote lots of checks. And then a huge and special thanks to Dave Harlow. Dave Harlow is our senior project manager and has overseen the entire operation, from the power requirements, lighting, catching up on facility maintenance, and on and on. PAE headquarters in Dana Point is pretty much owned by Dave. And he makes it his responsibility to keep the facility and grounds up to his standards. At the same time, he's building 5 new 80s, a half a dozen Nordhavn 475s, and a whole lot more. So thank you, Dave. And then finally, I have to say that this and other events at Nordhavn would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors, and they will be introduced shortly. And we thank them for helping us put on this and other great Nordhavn promotional events. So now it's time to introduce a friend of PAE's, going back over 2 decades to the earliest days of the Trawler Fest programs, where he emceed the main event and was always great, great fun. But first, I want to let someone else do those honors, and I want to introduce him. He's taken time from his busy, busy schedule and traveled by air to join us tonight, an experienced boater who has logged hundreds of miles aboard Nordhavns and a virtual walking encyclopedia on the Nordhavn fleet, able to recite performance figures, tankage, range, all the stats. This young man shows design and engineering potential and passion, as well as a knack for hamming it up. I'd like to welcome my favorite and only grandson, James Leishman. Who will introduce our great friend and veteran Nordhavn Film Festival MC. James, step right up here.
Right now?
Yep.
Oh. I'm proud to introduce Mr. Chuck Hawley, who will walk us through the evening, introducing the films, their makers, and great panel of judges, sponsors, and more.
Well, thank you very much, Jim and James, for that warm introduction. I'm delighted to be here this evening again for the Nordhavn Film Festival. You know, this is obviously our second annual, and being invited back for being a Master of Ceremonies is really a delight, and it shows that you didn't screw up too badly the first time, which is good reinforcement. Obviously, a lot has transpired in the last 3 years. We've had the first film festival prior to anyone even understanding what the word COVID was. Thank goodness that the threat of COVID has been largely eliminated, and we were still reeling from an impeachment. Thank goodness that's entirely behind us, and the country has healed and moved forward from politics. The impact of the original videos from 2019 is still being felt. Our finalist films have been watched over 130,000 times online since they debuted 3 years ago, reaching a wide audience of Nordhavn owners, or noggles as they're known, as well as future Nordhavn owners, or Wannanoggles, as they're also known. We'll be exploring more Nordhavn vocabulary later in the evening. If you're unfamiliar with these terms, you'll understand them better after our 9th film tonight. Our hosts for this evening are well known to all of you, I'm sure. Founding partners Dan and Streech and Jim and Jeff Leishman are here tonight to share the excitement for what we hope will continue to be an annual event. Gentlemen, thank you for your vision. Thank you for your vision in both creating the fleet of Nordhavn boats, which we all love, as well as your vision in creating tonight's event. I had a conversation earlier today with Dan, and he wanted me to mention that while many people have worked diligently to make this festival a success, there are owners of over 40 Nordhavns here tonight, for example. And it's the Nordhavn owners that really this is all about, obviously, not only because they're contributing the content, but also because of your dedication to the brand makes it, as Jim mentioned earlier, much easier to run a boat company when your best marketing firm is your owners. So Dan, Jim, and Jeff all hold the Nordhavn owners that are present here and present around the world greatly in their debt for getting the word out. So thank you very much for being dedicated owners. In 2022, Nordhavn delivered its 600th Nordhavn, which is a remarkable record for any company. It's estimated that those 600 vessels have traveled over 7 million miles and have been owned by over 2,000 families through having been sold in the market. Nordhavn owners aren't content to use their boats as weekend apartments in local harbors, as tonight's film will demonstrate. They're out exploring the ocean and the world with their families, friends, and especially other Nordhavn owners. It is a generous contribution from sponsors that make an event like this extra special. Over 30 vendors are represented here tonight. At the highest level is the producer level, including the following generous individuals and their companies. From Alcom Marine Electronics, Peter Kinney and Amy Elliott. From Lithionics Battery, Phil Silberhorn. From Northern Lights, my table friends tonight, Kit Purdy and Bob Center. And also from Table 5, from Atlas Marine Systems, Nicholas Benvenuti and Carter Robinson. A complete list of all sponsors can be found in your program tonight. Thank you all for your generosity. No competition would be possible without an experienced team of judges. Tonight's judges are from two disciplines, filmmaking and passage making. In many cases, the judges are experienced in both voyaging and filmmaking, so we get a twofer. Allow me to introduce them to you, although I suspect you know most of them already. Dave Abrams is the president of Maritime Publishing, the publisher of Ocean Navigator, Ocean Voyager, and Professional Mariner magazines. He's also the current producer of the Kubar Odyssey Rally in conjunction with the San Diego Yacht Club. Thank you for your participation, Dave. Angie Burke is a current owner of a Nordhavn 68, who also has more than 2 decades of video production experience that includes scripting, editing, and producing TV commercials, TED Talks, and live broadcasts. Kate Humphreys is a veteran Nordhavn Film Festival judging panel and is serving this year as the head judge, an Australian native and Nordhavn enthusiast who has studied the brand alongside Nordhavn owners and pioneers. Kate has worked for Nordhavn at events in Fort Lauderdale and Australia. Bruce Kessler also returns to the Nordhavn Film Festival judging panel, having served on the original panel in 2019. In many ways, Bruce and his lovely wife Joan are largely responsible for showing us that the world can be traveled in safety and comfort in privately owned passage-making yachts. His bio on IMDb takes about 30 minutes to read, with credits on the small screen, big screen as director and producer. Bill and Joan, thanks for all you have done for passage-making for all of us. A little personal note here. Susan and I had the distinct pleasure of voyaging with Joan and Bruce on Spirit of Zopalote last summer in Maine. And if you ever want to experience a well-run ship, see if you can catch a ride with the Kesslers. They are true experts. James Lenthal is the longtime owner of a Nordhavn 47 based in California. He's an avid film enthusiast and studied filmmaking at USC. And finally, Lee Stanley. Lee Stanley is an avid boater who has been voyaging along the U.S. East Coast extensively, from the Canadian Maritimes to the Caribbean and through the Panama Canal to Mexico. He's also a 5-time Emmy Award-winning writer, producer, director of box office hits, including Gridiron Gang. So I asked the judges by email a couple of weeks ago what were some of the criteria that they used to select the winners. And this is what they said. Now, this is sort of the boilerplate, but then there's some additional nuance here. First, cinematography, were the films shot and edited well? Second, storytelling. Did the films cause an emotional reaction? More than pretty pictures, did the film let you in on the thoughts and the emotions of the characters? Beauty. Did the films make you want to visit the locations and join in? And boy, I can tell you, I have a new list of places I want to go as a result of looking at the 10 films. Continuity. Did the story flow smoothly from start to finish, or did it jump around? Nordhavns. Without being an advertisement, did the film tell the story of how life aboard a Nordhavn is a splendid way to spend one's time? In the words of Angie Burke, as a judge, I felt a connection to each story. I was on the Great Loop, ducking under a bridge and hoping there was enough clearance. I could relate to the passion of the Nordhavn dreamers who talked about circumnavigating one day. I was moved by the aloha spirit and the urgency to protect the oceans that we love. I was on a dinghy cruise in Guatemala, the Bahamas, the Sea of Cortez, Tasmania, and the Pacific Northwest. I was scrubbing the deck, crawling into tight places, drinking sundowners, and fearing the loss of a finger every time the drone was launched. Thanks again to all of our judges for sharing their expertise and making tonight possible. So you may notice some common themes among the nominees for tonight's film festival. I'll let you all be the judges, but I think you'll agree that the following themes underlie most of these incredible films. 1, unbelievably cute and for the most part well-behaved dogs. 2, cute kids who appear to love the cruising lifestyle and who are mostly well-behaved as well. 3, courageous and skillful drone piloting. It would be interesting to know how many drones were lost in the production of these films. I suspect it was quite a few. Never go to sea with a single drone, I think, is the answer. 4, love, whether it's love for the marine environment, love for Nordhavns, or love for fellow crew members. 5, a passion for adventure, for solitude, and for the camaraderie that comes from the unique experiences on the water. And finally, the common theme of this year's entries was dreaming, or living the dream. In fact, there are 3 of the 10 videos that use the word dream in their titles. James Lenthal commented, "These films and tonight's event reinforce and expand my immense pride in being an owner and a member of the Nordhavn community. Watching these films almost achingly made me want to go cast aside local obligations and point my bow for destinations farther than I have had the time to travel so far. So, soon enough, though, I am as excited as ever to get going. These films are sincerely inspiring and motivating." So let's all get started with the real stars of the evening, the 10 films from which we'll select the winner. We're splitting the 10 into 2 groups of 5 so that you don't get overwhelmed and to allow you to get refreshments halfway through. The 10 films are shown in random order. As you checked in tonight, each of you was given a ballot with the names of the films in the order in which we're going to show them. This was in that little Nordhavn folder that you got with your goodie bag. Your job is not only to enjoy each of them, but also to vote for the one film that you love the most. Feel free to jot down some notes so you can remember what you voted for. After you've seen all of them, we'll collect the ballots and award a grand prize at the end of our festival, entirely based on how you voted. So this is done differently than we did it in 2019. In 2019, we had the People's Choice Award, which I believe Mr. Paskowitz and his family ended up getting in 2019. Well done. This time, we're actually going to let you vote for the grand prize winner, who will receive, well, I'll go into that in just a minute, what you'll receive. But let me just say, this is a very important vote, and so you need to pay special attention to the videos as they're presented. So, oh, and incidentally, there are 3 other awards which are always also lovely, but they're in specific categories. So, first, 1 Year in the Life of a 62, submitted by Frank and Leslie Coles. This is on their Nordhavn 62, and I'm going to screw up this name, but Kawira? Karawa. Okay, very good. This film examines where your Nordhavn can take you, even in a well-traveled 62. And I say well-traveled because we're talking about hole number 4 of the 62 series. You'll be taken to Mexico, Guatemala, Florida, and places that you can't go unless you have a Nordhavn or Indiana Jones as your guide. A total of 5 Nordhavns and their owners star in this diary of where you can travel in 1 year.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Leslie.
With over 45 years in the maritime industry, choosing a 62 was easy for me. They broke the mold when they designed this boat. Pun intended. It's seaworthy, efficient, and a vintage, iconic passage maker.
It's now our home and we love it.
This is the entrance to the cliffs of Rio Dolce. It's a pretty impressive entrance. Really excited by it.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, what's on yummy, yummy? Yummy, 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 yummy. Look at that. Woo! Hey, baby. Keep going, man. All right.
He held solid that time.
So this is Sunset Beach. This is the Exuma Sound, like a mill pond today. Crystal clear, and the entrance into Cape Eleuthera. We made it all the way to the Amazon. Now we're going through the Amazon. Just kidding. We're in Shroud Key, going through the middle of Shroud Key, chundering along through the mangroves. This is the Exuma Sound side of Shroud. Idyllic, beautiful, fabulous, splendid,
It's the
wonderful.
best thing for us both. I'll be happy out there, baby. Fish below and stars above. And you'll be happier without me. Push me out to sea, baby. There's nothing left for you to do. Be the best with our love, baby.
This is Sundowners with Nordhavns.
Down so low. And you'll Now I was up on your beach one morning, strange shell lying on the shore. You put me to your ear and I'll whisper, what today I just can't say. Then you throw me back into the water and forget you ever found me, and forget you ever lost me. Push me out to sea, baby. It's the best thing for us both. I'll be happy out there, baby. Fish below and stars above. And you'll be happier without me.
So, we love the Nordhavn 62. I don't know why you'd have anything else. But am I biased? Yeah, just a little. But I was skeptical at first on the age of the boat, but most of the systems are new. And she behaved impeccably, shall we say.
Never missed a beat.
Well, that just shows you how far you can go and how many wonderful people you can meet in the relatively short period of a year. So, fantastic. Our next video, or film, pardon me, is called Dreams. And this is created by Adam Paskowitz and family. And this is featuring their Nordhavn 60 Spirit of Adventure. Adam Paskowitz is well known to many of you, obviously those of you who are in 2019. And he returns with his family in his second entry into the Nordhavn Film Festival after winning the People's Choice Award in 2019 with Father and Son. Judge Angie Burke commented, "Beautifully crafted and should be applauded for having the greatest diversity of people represented in the film. For me, this video had one of the best links to the Nordhavn brand values and the boating community and the importance of protecting what you have. After viewing the video, I really wanted to hang 10 with his family. Life on the water looks full and purposeful." So please enjoy Dreams.
My dream.
Wow.
Oh gosh, that is an on-the-spot question. What is my dream?
I guess,
I've always wanted to be on YouTube, and I don't know. I don't know. It's really a tough question.
Fell in love and got married at 18 and 20. You know, in the early 50s, that was your aspiration.
My dream is to be a singer-songwriter when I grow up.
My dream is to be an attorney.
I would like to be an entrepreneur when I grow up and start my own business.
My dream is to make a positive difference on this world.
Let's suppose that you were able to dream any dream you wanted to dream.
Dream, baby, dream.
Our family's always had this dream of living at sea.
It's a video, right? Yeah.
For us, the reoccurring part of that dream is that it always seems to have a Nordhavn in it.
I wonder what you would do if you had the power to dream at night any dream you wanted to dream.
Hi, my name is Erin Noble. This is my husband, Peter Noble.
My name is Mike Bergsma.
Rick Francoeur. Robert Large.
My name is Matthew Page.
We have landed on a dream. We are going to circumnavigate the globe.
It's my wife and I's dream to circumnavigate the planet.
My dream is to explore the world.
To go cruising and exploring. Spend summers in Alaska, winters in Cabo, catching a lot of fish.
The 76.
The Nordhavn N75.
The Nordhavn 41.
A 47.
We like the 68.
It had been a while since we'd driven a Nordhavn, But even with just the family as crew, it was a no-stress operation. I mean, what could be better? Find a little spot, drop the anchor.
You really should put your fins on when you get.
I'm not going in the water till you get your suit on. I will take my fins off and my suit.
Why?
My name is Tracy Paskowitz. It's my dream that my family and I will inspire people to protect the world's oceans. The community of Nordhavn owners and dreamers is really unique. It's our love of the ocean that makes our specific dream really magical. The oceans need our help. My father-in-law would have called that the aloha spirit, where for everything that you take, you have to give something back. What I love about the Nordhavn community is that they're always showcasing the amazing resources and adventures that our oceans provide. It sends out such a positive message to protect what you love.
Some of our best adventures were by Nordhavns. They've taken us safely to the end of the rainbow and back. Every dream has its realities. And along our voyages, we've seen things that make us happy and make us sad. The ocean's problems are real, but our outlook has to be bright for our generation and the next.
And finally, you would dream where you are now.
Dream, baby, dream. Dream, baby, dream. Dream, baby, dream. Come on, dream, baby, dream. Come on and dream, baby, dream. Hey, I just wanna see you smile. Now I just wanna see you smile. Hey, I just wanna see you smile.
Keep doing it, keep doing it.
Come on, dream, baby, dream. Come on and
So I say cast away the lines and follow your dreams, wherever that path may take you. Because they go from this to this in a blink of an eye. Our family's dream means finding the perfect wave, cleaning up our beaches, and making new friends. What's your dream?
Tell me what it's like to now have little kids after you were out of the woods.
Chaos.
It's a lot like attending Juilliard.
What is?
Kids, little kids. Because at Juilliard they say, kiss first, ask questions later.
Yes, that's their main motto.
Pretty unbelievable. You know, when a lot of us are thinking about waiting until our kids leave the house so we can really get out there and do things, the Paskowitzes prove definitively, as do several other families present here tonight, that you don't have to wait until they're out of the house and you're empty nesters. If you do, you'll miss out on a lot. So terrific. Thank you very much, Adam and family. Our next film is Memories of a Nordhavn Summer. This is created by Ella Hummel, our second youngest videographer this year. And this is featuring the Nordhavn 62 Sisu. In fact, Nordhavn 62 seem to be a fairly common theme tonight. Just pointing that out. A little market research for you, Jim and Jeff. So what happens when you put 7 kids from 2 families together on a Nordhavn? As filmmaker Ella Hummel, age 17, points out, it forces everyone to get along and to share the sense of discovery when seeing new places, meeting new people, and learning new skills. All I have to say is, what lucky kids. Please enjoy Memories from a Nordhavn Summer.
Hey, I'm just calling to check in with you. It's Monday morning around just a little before noon. Give me a call. I'm just working, kind of running at a run an errand or two out here in Boise. I'm trying to figure out a way and a timeline to get back and stuff. I sent Mom a note last night, but I'll talk to you later. I love you very much.
This was March 23rd, 2020. Just a little over a week after schools closed, travel stopped, and our country shut down for the global COVID-19 pandemic. My dad was in Boise, Idaho at the time of the closure, and we didn't know it then, but my sisters and I wouldn't see him for another 4 months. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind it back to the beginning. I guess you could say it started on a boat, though a little bigger than any Nordhavn ones. Our first trip together and the first time meeting each other was on a cruise ship. A weird choice considering that at the time we were 2 completely different families, one from Pennsylvania and another Idaho. Yet, I guess the benefit of a boat is that you have to spend time together and work out your differences. There's nowhere else to go, a strategy that we are still using. Our first trip a success, we met up again the next year. And the next. There were times where it was difficult. We started as 2 completely separate families, yet each year we became closer and grew into our roles in our blended family. Eventually, a ring was proposed, and the next year it was made official, on a boat, of course. The following years were filled with more trips and trying to see each other as often as possible. We went on more boats, saw some awesome places, and grew together as a family. Then came March 2020. We're back to the voicemail. This year, it was questionable if we would be able to see each other at all. Fortunately, we did get a month together, yet separation made us realize just how important family is. At this point, we already knew how limited our time was. We wouldn't be kids forever. Soon, school and work and other lives would take over our time and gradually split us apart. Thus was born Sisu, a name coming from a Finnish word that has no direct translation in English, but generally means a combination of grit and determination. 2 traits that were necessary to get us up to this point together as a family and would definitely be necessary if we wanted to really thrive with boat life. We learned quickly that living on our own boat would be nothing like the big cushy boats we were used to. For starters, there was no all-you-can-eat buffet. Instead, we had to learn how to do just about everything: cooking, cleaning, docking, unclogging the toilets, everything for ourselves. But over our first summer, we slowly settled into our roles on the boat and really started to get a taste for what boat life is. This past summer, we came back for our second summer, ready for more adventures on the boat. We took our maiden voyage with everyone together and traveled for 2 weeks along the coast of British Columbia and Desolation Sound. During this trip, I think we truly realized what boat life is really like and grew even stronger as a family. And we're ready for more summers spent together on the boat.
Set myself aside, lead the way on this trial. If you don't know the way, we can stop and make a change. I know we walk for days, losing hope, fading love. This night will be okay, waking up to another day.
What's your favorite part about boat life?
Being able to spend time with my family.
I think it will have to be peeing on other people's pee to save water.
Thank you.
I really enjoy being out on the water and spending time with my family. That was so important to me. And also visiting all the different islands and places along the way and meeting new friends along the way. And everyone is so wonderful and nice out on the water. Thank you.
What's your
favorite part about boat life?
Probably the relaxed living. Like, you get to sleep in every morning and every day. Lunch, dinner, and breakfast. It's made by yours truly.
And a Hummel.
And a Hummel. Not me.
The ability to go places we've never been before and to do it as a team and explore not just locally, but be able to explore the world.
What's your favorite part about boat life?
I'm sorry, okay. Seeing all the new places. I can't.
I like being outside in nature, seeing new things, seeing you guys experience new things together, and having quality time.
Being able to snack all day.
I think it's that, like, it's mobile. You get to see different things every day and, like, wake up in a different dock or, like, marina, like, every night or every morning. And then, like, when you're on the water, like, we've seen, like, 3 pods of orcas, like, whale, Apparently I missed 2 others, but like it's more exciting than just life on land.
My favorite part about boat life is getting seasick.
Favorite part about boat life, Oscar?
All right. Well, unbelievable to take 7 kind of preteens and teenagers, now teenagers, out on the water together and to not have any family fights, which is what I've been told, and everybody was well behaved, so fantastic. Continuing with the dreaming theme, our next film is called Dream. It is shot by Larry McCullough, and it is a Nordhavn coastal pilot 59 named Independence. And so the question that the film presents is, are you a doer or are you an observer? Have you tried something that's appealing yet risky? And have you decided that, it just isn't worth it? That is the question that filmmaker Larry McCullough confronts in his film Dream. Larry and Angie McCullough faced a similar questions and jumped into the Nordhavn lifestyle with both feet 4 years ago. Their film shows that they haven't doubted their decision for a minute. And a comment from one of our judges said this film was a clear articulation of having a dream and the journey and to go for it. The narrator talks about being a pivotal moment, choosing to act or not, and to be a doer or a taker or a talker. That was a powerful line and relatable moment in the film. On a side note, the underwater footage of sea lions was great, a cool showcase of the world's aquarium.
I had a dream that was planted in my mind in the 1960s watching Flipper on TV. The dream was to cruise the Florida Keys and the Bahamas. Later I learned about the Great Loop, and my dream, like all good dreams, expanded. Then I met my wife to be Jamie. Like all dreams, well, most dreams, I love to talk about them. Jamie, having a marine biology background, was not a hard sell. I then started to explore how to make my dream come true. I subscribed to Passage Maker magazine. I then started to see my dreams through the pages. Where to go, what to do, how to do it, and importantly, what to do the dream on. I looked at the pictures of the boats and dreamed some more. I saw pictures of Nordhavns and loved their looks. Little ships, a seaworthy boat. We were not aware of the Nordhavn Dreamers group, but I was a Nordhavn dreamer. I dreamed up a plan, a trip to the Caribbean with a stop in Florida on the way back to the West Coast. And while there, take a look at some boats. There it was, my dream boat, a Nordhavn coastal pilot. Now I was in a strange position. I was a buyer and a seller. I had to sell the idea to Jamie. It didn't take much. We were on our way to living our dream. That was 4 years ago. We have traveled on Independence to the Florida Keys, the Great Loop, the Bahamas, the Gulf of Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and Baja, living the dream. This video is not about boasting about our trip, our dream. It is to show you what you can do to live your dream. Live your dream, whether it is to climb a mountain, cross a continent on a motorcycle, whatever, just make sure you live your dream. The one memory that I will never forget was when it was time to make the final decision about buying the boat or not. Was I going to go forward with this big decision of buying the boat, a commitment for years to come? Was I going to actually live my dream that I'd told many people about? I can still remember that specific moment, that thought. Am I a doer or am I a talker? I know this sounds strange, but I knew at that moment that this was a pivotal point in my life. Living our dream has been one of the most rewarding events in my life. Find a way to live your dream.
I know it's a little early in the evening to give out awards, but the award for Best Trained Porpoises and Dolphins goes to... No, that was pretty spectacular. And is that a whale shark that we saw there? Whale shark? Yeah, I'm not sure I would have been in the same ocean at the same time as the whale shark. I understand they're harmless, but you'd have to really try hard to convince me of that. Okay, we have one more in our first 5, and then we're going to take a break. So sit tight. One more video. This one is Original Dreamer, produced by John Ellis. And this is the Nordhavn 68 Dragon. Some of you may have seen the Ellis's videos on YouTube. I know this only because I was trying to figure out how big Dragon was, and I searched for it and found out that they had quite a nice YouTube channel. So a 30-year dream to spend your life on the water ends with the perfect combination, a like-minded partner and a gorgeous passage-making boat. John and Erin Ellis tell the story of the importance of following your dreams, sharing them with your family. One of the judges commented, Original Dreamer had really good cinematography and a nice personal story as well. So let's take a look at Original Dreamer.
So Mom and Dad were cruisers. Dad was career Navy, and we're always around the water, but my parents were of moderate means, so we weren't really a boating family. So it was kind of out of the blue when my dad summarily announced that he and my mom were going to sail around the world together when he got rid of us kids. My dad retired, and my parents made their cruising dreams a reality. So they walked the docks for months and months and read every broker drag, and eventually settled on a stout 49-foot ketch called a Transpac, built by a little yard in Taiwan called Tashing. And they lived aboard for a couple of years, and eventually they left. They took off and cruised through the Pacific Northwest, and then the two of them left and they crossed the Pacific. And I had a standing invitation to come with them, and when they got to New Zealand, I jumped. I sold all my stuff and had a couple of surfboards shaped, and I met them in New Zealand. And that first big passage to Tonga, it changed me in a way that happens to some people. Hundreds of miles offshore when you become a tiny speck on a big ocean. And early on in the journey, I figured something out. I knew something unlike anything I'd ever known before, because I was a kid. I'm 20 years old, I'm traveling around, and I knew that I would be a captain and that I would have a boat and I would do this. And so we're in a remote corner of Vanuatu, and we're buddy boating with this Aussie couple, and Reese and Nola. And Reese is a classic Aussie. The guy's like a cartoon. Anyway, this beautiful 49-foot sloop called the Taswell. And it was built by a little yard in Taiwan called Tashing. And he gave me a tour of his boat. It was so clean and so beautiful. And we were talking about sailing and, some of the challenges with it and weather and whatnot. And he reached into a cabinet, he pulled out a Polaroid picture. The Polaroid picture was nothing but a hull, but it was this big canoe shape, and it had this bulbous bow on it. It looked like a ship. And I said, what's that? And he said, it's a Nordhavn. And I said, yeah, what's that? And he goes, mate, single engine trawler. She's got stabilizers, air conditioning, heaps of diesel. Straight over the horizon in the watery whoop whoop. And I wasn't sure everything he said, but what I heard him say was flat decks, air conditioning because it's hot in the tropics, and to do things that we couldn't ordinarily do. You know, fishing, you know, spinning on a fish in the open ocean takes a while on a sailboat. And I also heard that, that going out onto slippery decks in the middle of the night to shorten sail with my mom was ever going to happen again. That picture and that vision, man, it's stuck in my head like a splinter. Like a song that you hear right before you go on a dive. You're not getting rid of it. So about 6 months later, we're in Guam. My parents pushed the pause button, and I was kind of at a crossroads, and borrowed some money and came back to Southern California. And I was broke and suntan. And then I met this girl, and I told her what I had in mind. And she didn't run away. And she harnessed the lightning that sometimes shoots from my fingers and screws things up.
He told me the night that we met that eventually he would live on a boat. And if I didn't think I could do that, that we shouldn't even date. My dad lived on a boat. I had spent a lot of time on boats as a kid. So one of the amazing things about John is that he's not just a dreamer. He's a human doing, not a human being. And the dream that he described to me on the night that we met wasn't just a fairy tale. It was something that he set about his life to create. We started from nothing and we built it from the ground up. He has these lofty visions, these dreams, these manifestations, and then together we work to make them a reality. We talked about cruising all the way along. It was always going to be in Nordhavn.
And when Erin came in and showed me a report, like she's done 1,000 times, because she's the brains of the operation, that we'd be able to build Dragon and that it would be the best option. I was a dock walker and I was a boat show stalker. And then suddenly I'm sitting in the conference room at headquarters across from Jim and Dan and Eric and Justin, my project manager, and signing a contract, cut one of the biggest checks of my life. They gave me some t-shirts and a couple of stickers and hats maybe. For the time that followed, thousands of emails. You know, I had some pretty outrageous ideas and Eric and Justin would have to break out the crayons and explain to me why we couldn't do something a certain way or why something wasn't gonna work. And so the world was covered in COVID and I didn't get to see that little boatyard in Taiwan. And then Dragon arrived one day in Ensenada on the deck of a rusty ship. And suddenly I was climbing a Jacob's ladder onto the deck. And I was the first one through the door. Eric handed me the keys. And I wasn't prepared for the emotional reaction. I walk in and the boat's dark and I'm tearing paper off the window and lights streaming in from the outside and I'm seeing the boat for the very first time. And I'm fighting back tears and I keep telling myself it's just a thing. It's just a thing. When is a thing not a thing? When it's woven into the fabric of your life, when it's become a fuel in your fire. Maybe this ring on my finger is just a scratched up piece of metal. Or maybe the day my son was born was just a Friday. Not to me. You know, life is episodic. A chapter to be a kid, a chapter to figure out your path, a chapter to do and build. And this chapter, I wrote it in my head a long, long time ago, and it hasn't happened like I imagined it at all. And I'm really, really glad, because I'd have sold myself way short. You know, the world spins so fast. I'm just trying to create gravity for the people I love. I think it's a good way to do it. It's working out pretty well so far. I mean, Dragon hasn't been in my family for a year yet. You know, the realization of goals and dreams, it just gives fuel and gives rise to greater goals and greater dreams. I've been shown that what you water grows. I'm just starting to dream about where we're gonna go and what we're gonna do. I'm not dreaming small, not this time.
Well, John and Aaron obviously have a lot of lessons that they are teaching people about passage making. The one thing that I took away from their film was the power of t-shirts and stickers to do business. So good on you, Leishmans. I know that you closed the deal with those things. Okay, you've got 20 minutes to use the head, have a drink, and we'll see you back here precisely at 20 minutes to 10. So we're going to take a quick opportunity to interview the founders of Nordhavn and to ask them a couple of questions during the Nordhavn second annual film festival. So let's start with you, Jeff. When we were here 3 years ago for the first annual film festival, you were on the verge of introducing the 41-footer, which was kind of a different vessel for you because it was built in Turkey and it had twin engines in a smaller form factor. So can you tell us what's on the drawing board now?
Well, yeah, the 41, I guess that was about the time we were developing it, and since then we've delivered 10 or probably 14 now. It's been a huge success, great boat. Jim and I spent the summer on the boat just cruising it, and we love it. So following that, we designed the 51, which will be built in Turkey as well. It's a twin engine boat. Pretty updated, cool boat. The Turkey factory is doing really well for us. In addition to that, we have a 71 that we're developing in Taiwan that's probably within 6 months or 8 months, we'll probably have the first one done. We have the 625, which is being built in a brand new factory in Taiwan that was built, it was part of our China factory, but they moved back to Taiwan. We've moved the 80 tooling there. In addition to that, I have a really cool big boat, you know, a 112-foot boat on the drawing board that's pretty far along in development. It was done for a client that owns an 86 now. Not sure if we're going to go on that, but that's kind of it. I have a lot of other things that are sort of there that I always have, but I think those are the main focus we have now. And we're really looking forward to delivering these new projects that they're already underway. They're real, they're happening.
One of the surprises when I was here was your discussion of using computational fluid dynamics to get greater efficiency out of the hulls. How has that worked for you?
Every new design has gone through that. We're competent in it. I've got a young engineer, Alex Allman, that's just loves doing that. We bought the program, you know, so it's definitely it's way better than tank testing. Let me put it that way. We used to build a model, you know. In fact, we have a guy here that built the very first 62 tank test model. He's here tonight, and you know, we've come a long way since then. It's really awesome.
So now let's move over to Jim. Jim, tell me about how comfortable you feel with the positioning of the Nordhavn brand and the Nordhavn products in the market right now.
Well, I'm very, very comfortable. I mean, we have a long-term plan to stay in business for as long as we can. We're grooming a bunch of really talented people that have been with us for many, many years to fill in as we, you know, get a little older. We've got great design people, great sales people. We have a new COO. So we have no plans of doing anything but continuing on and trying to build the very best boats that we can and just build on the brand that we have, Nordhavn. And that brand is best known really for our full displacement, long range ocean crossing boats. And we kind of feel we own that market. We know it so well. We've had so much experience with it. And it just so happens that with the price of fuel, just with the, you know, if a person can go out and burn thousands of gallons of fuel to go 40 knots, maybe they can afford it, but is it really right to do in this day and age? So we're building a boat that is unequaled in terms of its efficiency and the green, you know, part of it. There's no way to build a 60-foot boat or an 80-foot boat and make it operate more efficiently on less fuel than a Nordhavn. And the people that are buying them, they want to go further than you have to go farther these days to really find great adventure. And the fact that these boats can travel so far, thousands of miles in between fueling, gives people the opportunity to pretty much go wherever they want.
Wonderful. So Dan, the market currently is down something like 20 or 22%. At least my portfolio is over the last year. How have the prices of Nordhavns held up during the financial, I won't call it a crisis, but the financial challenges that we're having now?
For starters, I'll trade for portfolios with you.
Yeah,
Mine didn't do that well. Well, going back further than just this year, historically, Nordhavn values have always been very, very strong, and it was stress tested first in the big recession of 2008, 9, 10, where we saw some boat values go literally to zero. I mean, there were super yachts where they were selling off artwork and to pay the crew, and the Nordhavn values rode right through that. They came down a bit, but they stayed strong all through the recession, and that was something that we're really proud of. Now, in 2022, where the market has been down, most portfolios have been down, Nordhavn values at worst have stayed flatline and have actually increased a bit in the brokerage boats and so forth. So for the last 10 months, you would have been better off to have your money in a Nordhavn than in the market. And furthermore, there's another caveat to that because we sell the boats worldwide, and the value of Nordhavns, even in foreign countries in Europe and in the UK and Australia, where there are quite a few Nordhavns, the values generally stay consistent in US dollars. So as those currencies have gotten weaker, those Australians and UK residents and Europeans, they've kind of had a hedge against that, against their currency weakening just by owning a Nordhavn. So we're very, very proud of what the values have done. The brand is so strong now. The boats are so sought after. Anytime there's a good Nordhavn available on the used boat market, it gets snapped up pretty quickly. So yeah, we've done very, very well in 2022.
I saw a brokerage boat that was had a beautiful YouTube video produced about it, and it was a 57 with 4,000 hours on the main engine. And it looked, first of all, like it was right out of the showroom. It was in gorgeous condition, and yet it would allow somebody who wanted to own a Nordhavn to have an extraordinarily good value in the used market. Here's a well-loved, well-used, well-maintained boat, but you could buy it for under $1 million.
Yep.
And go off and circumnavigate or wherever your dreams take you.
Well, of course, a 57 today probably wouldn't be under $1 million, but there'd be not much over it. But you're exactly right. The boats, the Nordhavns are so durable. The bones are so strong that even if certain bits of equipment wear out or electronics become dated, the basic boat, I mean, even clear back to the first Nordhavn 46, they're still out there, and they're still worthy of putting money into and capable of cruising. So you're exactly right. For relatively not that much money, you can get in a very capable boat and do the wonderful things that we're seeing in the videos tonight.
Hey, you know, Chuck, you mentioned 4,000 hours. That's very, very low hours for a Nordhavn.
Especially for a 57.
Oh my gosh. People are buying the boats with 11, 12, 15, 18,000 hours on the engines. And because the engines are so heavy duty, operate at such low RPM, and their output is such a low percentage of what their actual capability is, they last forever. I mean, they will go 25, 30, 40,000 hours between overhauls. So it's not like an engine that's sitting in a high-speed sport fishing boat or something that's being run at almost maximum output all the time. These engines are very low stress and will virtually go on forever.
You know, two of those videos that we've seen before intermission, I mean, one of them was hull number 4 of a 62.
Yes.
And
yes.
I sold that boat new. I mean, that must be 25 years ago now. And there it is, still providing wonderful experiences for, that may be the 4th or 5th owner of the boat.
Right.
And
looking good.
Looking good, yeah.
It's terrific.
Yeah.
Any last comments, gentlemen, or before we go back in and watch the next 5 videos?
Well, thank you, Chuck, for doing a great job.
Thanks,
yeah,
Chuck.
you're getting everybody excited, and appreciate you helping us on that. It's a beautiful evening.
It's an easy job because everyone in the audience is pre-sold on the product. They love it, and they also love being with each other and talking about it.
If you get 2 Nordhavn owners together, you got a party.
Yes.
And you get like 200 together, and you got a mega
I guess
party.
we're going to hear more about that in the later videos.
In the later videos.
Yes, we are.
Nordapedia or something. I heard.
And let's talk about the rain. The rain came in and poured about 5 minutes after we got all in the tent.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And it stopped so we could come out here. So.
And we had a little electrical storm. So pretty rare for
lightning
this
strikes
area.
when we have the film festival.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Okay, well, we're going to head back in and see the last 5 videos or films at the Nordhavn 2nd Annual Film Festival. So let's go back in there and join the crowd. Adventure the Nordhavn Way. This is by Tasha Sapala Hazelrig, who is 16 years old. And it is shot on the Nordhavn 64 Perseverance. So this is a tour of the Pacific Northwest with our youngest filmmaker and her family. Tasha shows us that it's not just the legs of a journey that make the Nordhavn life so appealing, it's the local scene once you're in a snug harbor, exploring small towns, kayaking, battling tidal currents, show just how diverse and gorgeous life is when you travel via Nordhavn.
This is that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls, straight masterpieces. Stylin', wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot. Say my name, you know who I am. I'm too hot. And my band bought that money. Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh!
Started doing that thing where I was going like this, and she started to fall over. I laughed so hard it woke her up.
A simple band of gold wrapped around my soul. Hard forgiven, hard forget. Faith is in our hands, castles made of sand. No more guessing, no regrets. And you came my way on a winter's day. Shouted loudly, come out and play. Can't you tell I got news for you? The sun is
like a soldier, baby. Yeah, I know you been like that. Gun it like a holster, baby. Show them say you're wicked like that. We live where the war is raging, chasing our crazy dreams, hoping that the bridge won't cave in. So now we'll let it all go free. Give me the thing, I make me rockin' at the dance. Give me the thing, I make me rockin' at the dance. Man, she don't like stepping at the dance. Give me the thing, I make me rock, 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 rock. Give me the thing, I make me rockin' at the dance. Give me the thing, I make me rockin' at the dance. Man, she don't like stepping at the dance. Give me the thing, I make me light it up.
So it appears that Tasha was.
GoPro?
It appears that Tasha was the entire film crew on that, so an outstanding effort. Our next film is called The Nordhavn Reality by Noah Eckhouse, and this was shot primarily on the Nordhavn 57 Shore Dancer. So this is a serious and not so serious examination of what it's really like to live the Nordhavn life. You'll instantly recognize and enjoy the realities of being a Nordhavn owner, why it can be complicated at times, but really rewarding. From provisioning to endlessly launching and retrieving the dinghy, the reality of owning a Nordhavn has seldom been this honest and this funny.
Nordhavn. The name runs deep with symbolism, adventure, durability, voyages into the unknown. Across vast oceans, through challenging storms and peaceful inlets, a Nordhavn always delivers. And so do its owners and crew. Unflappable, serene, never a hair out of place. Just like their sturdy boats, the Nordy owner stands as commander on the bridge, surveying all before them. Wait a minute.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
TRX. I love my Nordhavn. I really do.
All kidding aside, at day's end, there is just nothing like a Nordhavn. From comfort and quality, fitness for purpose and safety, the global Nordhavn community knows exactly what makes these boats and their crews so special. We raise our glasses to future adventures.
Okay, that was the Nordhavn reality, Noah Eckhouse. Those of you who are rumbling in the back, would you please stop doing that? Number 8, Crossing the Atlantic in a Wheelchair with Philippe Guglielmetti on the Nordhavn 40, Embracing Life. Hold on for the emotional account of a transatlantic voyage from west to east after a near-fatal stroke put the owner's plans on hold for 7 years. Grit, determination, courage, use whatever adjectives you want for this challenge because they all apply. After watching this film, you'll have to agree that the name Embracing Life for this vessel is a highly appropriate Nordhavn name.
You were looking at an MRI of Philippe Guglielmetti's brain after his Pontine stroke, an MRI that sentenced him, if not to death, then to life with severe incapacitations. But the statisticians did not know Philippe. Philippe and his wife Florence bought a 2001 Nordhavn 40 for the purpose of Philippe crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The Nordhavn 40 headed to Apex Marine in Miami for some retrofitting to make the vessel more appropriate for ocean crossing. Although the yacht was in excellent condition at the time of purchase, it was prudent to service all mechanicals. He purchased and installed a new Yanmar 30 horsepower wing engine with a ZF transmission. New electronics included a Simrad AP44 autopilot control system with a hydraulic steering pump, an NAC3 processor, Precision 9 compass, and an FU80 surface-mounted steering control. A new side power stern thruster was added in case there might be a situation where it would be easier maneuvering. New bottom paint and zincs, and they were all set. Well, once they provisioned, they were really all set. Of course, provisioning also included things like Iridium phone, InReach Garmin, Viking offshore life raft, and exercise equipment. May 28, 2022, exactly 7 years and 2 weeks after Philippe's near-fatal stroke. He was on board and on his way to crossing the Atlantic. His trusty crew consisted of Adelaide, the Belgian first mate, who also has a PhD in neuroscience, Philippe's youngest son, Maxime, who is a diver and professional lifeguard, as well as a biology student at McGill University, Dominique, a French captain, and Jean, a writer from France. Dominique and Jean were excited to be on this first leg to Bermuda, at which point they will be replaced by Matthew, Philippe's eldest, and his fiancée, Abby. Although the seas were relatively calm, it was decided to launch the paravanes, or affectionately known as flopper stoppers, the passive stabilization system. While relaxed and mellow seemed to be the general atmospherics, there were moments of excitement, like when Dominique pulled in the whopper of a mahi-mahi, more regularly called dinner. Speaking of fish, the attachments at the end of the shrouds are called birds or fish. There is a different attachment when at anchor, but underway, the fish glide along just below the surface. It was exhilarating docking in Hamilton at the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club 18 years after Nordhavn Atlantic Rally fleet pulled into the same dock. Bermuda meant refueling and crew change, with Matthew and Abby joining. The seas continued to build, with swells eventually increasing to 9 to 10 feet, with the not infrequent enough waves topping 20 feet. It was in the middle of the ocean that the crew saw movement in the mast. Then they heard the mast creak. It was the creak before the crash, the whisper before the scream. Philippe gave the order to put the gear in neutral in preparation for the probability of the tangled paravane lines fouling the prop. It took 3 attempts and 2.5 days before Maxime could dive to free the prop from the tangled paravane lines. Maxime had used this wait time to build up his endurance for free diving, which came in handy for cutting the lines to free the prop. Then he removed the bolts attaching the poles to the boat and watched as the poles slowly made their way downward and deep to creating a new reef. The mast was secured to the foredeck, the gear engaged, and after drifting off course for 2.5 days, they reset the autopilot and headed for the Azores. It became apparent how beneficial the stabilizer had been once embracing life was again underway. The rolling became even more challenging for Philippe to step to the wheelhouse and complete the crossing. As Philippe was sitting in the wheelhouse, contemplating the challenges of the past few days, he saw the school of dolphins just off the bow of his yacht, a welcoming party guiding him to his next port. Arrival at Horta Azores was celebratory. It was June 25th, just slightly less than 1 month since departure from the Guglielmetti dock in Miami. It was an emotional moment pulling into the dock, thinking of all of the people that had stood by at the ready to assist a vessel in distress. The U.S. Coast Guard, the nearby sailboat Matriarch with a diver on standby, the 2 Nordhavns, Carmana and Festus, now docked in the Azores, with Captain Nikolai and Sean jumping aboard to help with docking, Garrett, Jenny, and others from Nordhavn, and Duncan from Mid-Atlantic Yacht Service. but mostly relieved was Florence, who was up day and night, unable to give in to her emotions, not just because she became the chief project and crisis manager in spite of not just having her stroke victim husband aboard, but also her 2 sons in this precarious situation. Nothing could express Philippe's relief and gratitude once he was again on dry land with Maxime and Matthew's fiancée, Abby. The crew took to leaving their mark, as hundreds of other ocean crossers have done, as can be evidenced by the paintings with the names of the vessels and the arrival dates decorating the walls and walkways. Departing order gave time for reflection. Fresh crew for this third and final leg brought new energy, with Philippe and Adelaide being the only ones aboard that had started this 4,300-mile journey. While it felt like the trip was coming to an end, the Azores is still in the middle of the ocean and a long way from the new destination, Barcelona, Spain. Philippe's watches were the easy part. Sitting in the wheelhouse, he was in control of both his body and his ship. But without the stabilizing aid of the paravanes, the passage continued to present challenges for Philippe. While he was never left unattended, he needed assistance for daily life aboard. Unable to go below, the salon became Philippe's master stateroom, and his bed was wherever he could lay down a blanket. Crew had their 3-hour watches, but Philippe, the ultimate responsible captain, maintained a 12-hour watch while approaching and passing the Strait of Gibraltar, the passage with the 3rd heaviest maritime traffic in the world. Embracing life is not just Philippe's mindset and his mantra, but it became a means and a reward for setting and meeting goals. With the devotion and support of a loving wife, with his 2 sons accompanying him on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure, Philippe was satisfied of once again defying the odds and proving that one's limitations may only be oneself. While Philippe's original plan was to return to Miami aboard motor yacht Embracing Life, he was satisfied that on July 12, 2022, his goal of crossing the Atlantic Ocean had been met. Motor yacht Embracing Life was eventually loaded onto cross-chartering ship, delivering her back to her home port in Miami, where Nordhavn will install her new mast and new stabilization and prepare this beloved yacht for her next big adventure. And where will that be? Philippe says with a smile and the ever-present twinkle in his eye, "I have some ideas, but for the moment, I am just embracing life."
I think that video clearly puts in perspective some of the hardships that we feel are insurmountable that are probably not as insurmountable as what Philippe has gone through, and what an unbelievably courageous story. So thank you, Philippe, for sharing it with us. Our 9th film of the night is from a repeat participant. The name of it is Nordapedia, the Encyclopedia of Nordhavn Vocabulary. And if you, any of you who were here 3 years ago will realize that we have a whole new vocabulary associated with owning and enjoying and wishing we had Nordhavns. So this is featuring her 2nd installment in the series. This is Alexa Schanefeld, featuring a variety of Nordhavns, including the 50-foot Noeda and the 55-foot Red Rover. The credits include 16 Nordhavns and owners who have contributed to this film. Assisted by Allison Jeffries, Alexa presents the 2nd edition of her ever-expanding lexicon tutorial that is specific to Nordhavns. You thought you had noodles and noggles down pat? Well, brace yourselves, because the world of Nordhavn's specific terms has been dramatically expanded. Welcome to the 2022 version of Nordapedia. Judge Dave Abrams commented, Nordapedia was very creative and funny. The summary at the end was the best part. This really speaks to the power of the brand.
2019, the world was introduced to new Nordhavn vocabulary: noodle, noggle, and wanna-noggle. These terms were the result of an extensive and deep research effort regarding the passion and general giddiness that results from being around Nordhavn yachts. But 3 years have passed, and it is time for an update. To ensure accuracy in this important update, our editors turned to a worldwide community of experts, otherwise known as Nordhavn owners. The result is a crowdsourced encyclopedia of Nordhavn terminology called Nordapedia. To begin, we'll review the vocabulary that provided the foundation for Nordapedia in 2019. Noodle. A noodle is a group of 3 or more Nordhavns. The vessels can be together in an anchorage, on a dock, or cruising. Noggle. A noggle is a gathering of 3 or more Nordhavn owners. They might be talking about Nordhavns on the dock, or even dancing in sombreros. Wanna-noggle. A wanna-noggle is a group of 3 or more dreamers or people who simply appreciate Nordhavns. And now to unveil the newly adopted terms for 2022. A very large noodle is, of course, a lasagna. And a group of 8 or more Nordhavns gathered in one place is obviously a very large noodle. Therefore, lasagna is the term for a group of 8 or more Nordhavns, such as the fleets found at Naps and the 2022 Victoria Gathering. Whether there is a noodle, lasagna, or just one vessel, Nordhavn owners are usually having fun. Having fun is when people are having fun on or around their Nordhavn. Whether they're enjoying the water, dancing, or simply resting in style, Nordhavn owners are skilled at having fun. One way owners are having fun is with a holiday haven. A holiday haven is the celebration of a holiday on a Nordhavn. However, sometimes owners are not having fun. Not having fun can be caused by bad weather, repairs that are needed, accidents that happen, or just events that are not fun. Nordology is the study of all things Nordhavn.
But
Nordologists like Bob Center often teach Nordology to nerdles. Nerdles are people who like to study Nordhavns.
And you have this fuel.
Pets are important members of a Nordhavn crew. Therefore, a furhaven is a Nordhavn with 1 or more furry friends aboard. Furhavens and wildlife don't always see eye to eye. A Nordpod is a gathering of marine life, shorebirds, and other wildlife that can be observed from a Nordhavn. Frozenhaven is a unique event that happens when a Nordhavn travels to very cold locations, therefore causing freezing conditions around the vessel. And why do people become Nordhavn owners? So they can experience the Farfikhaven. A Farfikhaven is simply taking the time to enjoy the cruise, especially with regard to Nordhavn vessels. And experiencing the Farfikhaven leads to a special term, the Nord-ah. A Nord-ah is a moment on a Nordhavn that makes you say, ah. When one is writing the term, the number of H's at the end is dictated by the beauty of the scenery. The Nord-ah moments with the most H's often end up in the annual Nordhavn calendar. Nordapedia's collection of Nordhavn vocabulary is always growing and evolving. So in conclusion, here's a quick summary of the 2022 edition of Nordapedia. This is a Nordhavn. So is this, and this. This is not a Nordhavn. A group of 3 or more Nordhavns is called a noodle. While these are noodles, and these, they are not the same as a majestic Nordhavn noodle. When there is a noodle, there is often a noggle, which is a group of 3 or more Nordhavn owners. A Wananoggle is a group of 3 or more people who appreciate Nordhavns. They are often called dreamers. It's a Wananoggle's dream to become a noggle and a noodle. A giant noodle is a lasagna. This is a group of 8 or more Nordhavns gathered together. Often Nordhavn owners are having a good time. This is called Haven fun. Sometimes owners are having fun at a holiday haven. However, it does happen that sometimes they are not having fun. Not having fun can sometimes turn into, oh! Nordology is the study of all things Nordhavn, often taught by a Nordologist such as Lugger Bob. To a nerdle, nerdles can be taking courses or getting excited about new Nordhavn gear. Furhaven is a pet on a Nordhavn. Here's a lazy Furhaven, and here is a Furhaven at work. Furhavens are different than Nordpod, which are critters one sees from their vessel but does not invite on board for a snuggle. In colder climates, a Nordhavn may experience a Frozenhaven. Fortunately, Nordhavns are well equipped to handle Frozenhavens. But in any climate, all owners know the experience of a Farfikhaven, which is the art of enjoying the cruise. Farfikhavens lead to Nordahs, which are beautiful moments experienced on a Nordhavn. So, if a noodle's noggle is busy nerdling, hanging with her Furhaven, photographing Nordahs, or simply experiencing a Farfikhaven, you can bet that Nordhavn owners are having fun.
There'll be a test later on tonight. All right. Well, we've come to the last film of the evening. This is exploring the east coast of Tasmania. by Rick McClure, shot on the Nordhavn 57 Bonnier. Former Nordhavn owner Rick McClure takes us on a gorgeous voyage along the shore of Tasmania. While many of the films tonight have benefited from the use of drones, I think you'll have to agree that this intimate tour of Tasmania combines incredible scenery with incredible piloting skill. It's not known how many drones failed to return from their airborne assignments, but after watching this film, we're sure you will agree it was worth it. All right, so that completes our 10 candidates for tonight's grand prize. I'm going to go over them super quickly. And so if you'll get out your ballots, if you haven't voted already, those of you who have ballots, we'll go over them very, very quickly. Film number 1, 1 Year in the Life of a 62 by Frank and Leslie Coles. Number 2, Dreams, Adam Paskowitz and his family. 3, Memories of a Nordhavn Summer, Ella Hummel. 4, Dream, Larry McCullough. 5, Original Dreamer, John Ellis. 6, Adventure, the Nordhavn Way, Tasha Zapala Hazelrig. Number 7, The Nordhavn Reality by Noah Eckhouse. Number 8, Crossing the Atlantic in a Wheelchair by Philippe Guglielmetti. Number 9, Nordapedia, the Encyclopedia of Nordhavn Vocabulary by Alexa Shanafelt. And number 10, Exploring the East Coast of Tasmania by Rick McClure. Now, mark your ballots and then pass them to one person on your table, and that person should hold them up so that those ballots can be collected. We need to do this super efficiently because we're going to vote on this and we have to tally all the votes quickly. So, if you have ballots in your hand, raise them up so we can collect them. Remember, you're only voting for one, as much as I know that you'd like to vote for many. Okay, as soon as all the ballots are collected, we can go on with our raffle. We have a great raffle. So let's get those ballots collected and to our lovely ballot counters. Okay, are there any ballots that are left uncollected? If there are, raise them up above your head so we know where they are. Any last ballots that need to be collected? Okay. Let's continue on. We're going to go to our raffle now, something that you'll all want to participate in. Everybody who's in this fishbowl will want to participate in this. So we have a couple of activities that we're going to do while the ballots are being counted for the grand prize. And the first is a raffle. Many of you know Fido Espinoza from the Marina Corral and Hotel in Ensenada, Mexico. Could I have your attention, please? Thank you. Many of you know Fido Espinoza from the Marina Corral in Ensenada, Mexico. This is almost like a second home for many Nordhavns on the West Coast. Fido has generously donated 2 nights at the hotel, but not just any room. The winner and his guests, and this is for a total of 4 people, the winner and 3 others, will get to stay in the presidential suite for 2 nights. This is like a 3-room palace with TVs and a gorgeous view and hot and cold running shrimp and all sorts of things. It's fantastic. This is the finest room in the hotel with dramatic views and even a full breakfast included. So you get to choose the dates, available dates for this presidential suite, and take your spouse or your significant other and another couple, or whomever you want. You can take a Boy Scout troop as long as they only have 3 in the troop, and you can go down there with a retail value of $2,500. This would be a wonderful way to spend more time in Ensenada, whether you arrive by Nordhavn or by some other means. And James, young James, would you mind we're going to keep this very on the up and up by having James pick the name of the Nordhavn owner who's going to participate. Okay, I'll hold, you grab. Okay, don't look, don't look. It's my grandpa. Okay, can you read that off? Is it a little hard to read? Okay, oh yes, it is very difficult. The winner is Eric and Janet Biscobi. Would you present this to him? Thank you very much. There you go. Thank you, our pleasure. Nicely done, James. One of the things we tried to do 3 years ago was to tell a couple of jokes, not all of which were as funny as, or the audience didn't think they were as funny as I did. So we're going to try this again. And I just want to tell you, though, that in preparation for tonight's event, I went to the internet to see if I could find a joke that I could share with you that was boating related. And you'd think that this would be a simple task, but as soon as you eliminate jokes about parrots and mermaids and priests and height-challenged individuals and most marine mammals, you come up with very few choices. So I think I found one that passes all of those tests, but you'll have to tell me in a moment. So while we're waiting for the vote count, here we go. A sailor gets shipwrecked on a small island. Now listen up, there's some details on this you'll want to take special note of. A few days after wandering around, he comes across a tribe of natives who have just lost their chieftain. The tribe's high priest tells the man that he's the first outsider they've seen in 20 years. And if he wants to become the new chieftain, he must submit to 3 tests. If he passes all 3 tests, he'll be chieftain. Fair enough, says the sailor. Just let me know what the tests are and I'll get right on them. He's a kind of a gung-ho guy. The priest takes him to a clearing, and there are 3 straw huts in it, and turns to the man and explains the tests. In the first hut, you'll find 20 gallons of our native beer. You must drink all of this to complete the test. In the second hut is a gorilla with an impacted tooth. You must pull his tooth and survive to pass this test. In the third hut is the ex-chieftain's daughter. You must make love to her until she can take no more. I'm kind of rushing through that because I realize we have children in the audience, so I'm not sure they could have understood it if I said it that fast. So the sailor agrees to the test and enters the first hut. 3 hours later, he staggers out of the hut and goes towards the second hut. The priest asks if he would like to have a rest, but the sailor says no, he wants to complete all the tests before dark. He goes into the second hut. After 2 hours of great commotion, he comes out covered head to toe with blood and scratches. He turns to the priest and says, now lead me to that girl with the sore tooth. The management team said they wanted me to go right up to the edge, but no further, and I don't know where that was. Okay, here's another one, and unfortunately I can't do a Scottish accent as well as I might, but a shipwrecked Scotsman, or Scot, is rescued by a Royal Navy destroyer. He's taken to the sickbay where a beautiful young nurse is waiting. Our captain wanted me to tell you that he's from Aberdeen, and he wants his countrymen to receive the best of care. How long has it been since you've had a drink of whiskey, she asks. It's been 5 long years, my dear, the Scotsman replies. Well, the captain will have a bottle sent down from his personal collection, the nurse assures him. And how long since you've had a good meal? He says, well, 5 years again. She says, well, you'll dine in the wardroom tonight when the captain will see to it. And then the nurse begins to sort of unbutton her blouse and leans towards the Scotsman with a smirk and says, so how long is it since you played around? And he says, oh, you don't mean to tell me that the captain has a golf course on the ship as well. What a miracle. Again, we're looking for jokes that can be told. Okay, it wouldn't be a festival without awards. I'm moving right along. Wouldn't be a festival without awards. So just as a reminder, let's review tonight's award categories. There are 3 categories, and each winner will be presented with a $2,500 check. Tonight's categories are the best comedy, the best documentary, and the best cinematography. Our grand prize winner, who we'll get to in just a few minutes, will be heading home with the now famous Nordie, the much sought after award which was first presented 3 years ago at the first Nordhavn Film Festival. You may know somebody who's got a Grammy, you may know someone who's got a Tony, you may even know someone who won an Oscar, heck, you may know somebody with a Nobel Peace Prize. But do you know what they don't have that one of our filmmakers is going to have tonight? A Nordie. The Nordie tonight will become the most sought after creative award imaginable because they are rarer than a Republican at Nancy, help me with that. She didn't die. She's a hero. Anyway, Nancy Pelosi's Thanksgiving dinner. So someone among us is going to have it awarded to them tonight. The Nordie, incidentally, was the combined creative effort of Trevor and Morgan Streech, making this evening even more of a family affair. Morgan designed the award and Trevor constructed it at his factory at Prime Fabrication, and when you see it, you will see how special this is. Well, you can see it right there. A second minor part of tonight's award is a check for $10,000, but after winning a Nordie, this could turn out to be a little anticlimactic. So how are we doing on counting the ballots? We're done. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Fantastic. Okay, if I could ask Dan to come up and join me to present the award for Best Comedy. We're going to do that up here in the center.
And a tiny correction is that there are actually 4 Nordies.
Oh, could we have that mic on? I think it may have a switch.
So, can you hear me now?
Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
So a minor correction is that there are actually 4 Nordies. So there, for each of the 3 category winners, there is a slightly smaller Nordie, but still magnificent. Jennifer's holding it there. So I have in my hand here the best comedy, and let's see what we have here. Oh, I like this one. I think this is going to be popular. I like this a lot. Nordapedia. Speech.
Okay, just really quickly, thank you for the opportunity for this. 3 years ago when we made the noodle video, we didn't think we'd still be talking about noodles. So, really glad to be back here, and thank you. It was so much fun to make.
We had such a great time.
Yeah.
And really that's what mattered. And at the end of the day, the coolest part about this was that it represented to us our Nordhavn community, which is the best part of owning a Nordhavn. And so thank you to the 16 boats that trusted us, who had no idea what we were going to do with their footage.
Well said. Thank you, ladies.
And now, Jim, will you join us on stage for the Best Documentary Award? I'm sorry. Jim? It's okay? Okay.
Okay, this is actually going to be for cinematography.
goes to Original Dreamer by John Ellis.
Oh my God, it is beautiful. I actually have some Trevor's other work on my boat, and it is just as hefty and just as well made. This is beautiful, and we'll find a very, very good home on the boat. I'd first like to thank the Academy, yes. My agent. No, I would like to thank the Nordhavn Film Festival Committee. Sue, Susan, Jennifer, Doug, and Dave. And Amy, God, killed it under the big top. Great job, great job. I would also, there's a couple other people that, I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to showcase and share something I'm so inspired and passionate about, and that's, it's not actually Nordhavn, it's me. 9 minutes and 53 seconds of me, written, directed, and starring me. And I mean, those have got to be my pronouns by now, right? But also, my wife Erin, who is my partner in all things and the fountain of everything good in my life. Thank you, especially in these dragon years, for letting me tear down your comfort zone and reconstruct it, and letting me set fire to any available liquidity that we've ever known. As if vaporizing it as if it had a bounty on it. I've made a lot of promises over the years, and one of those promises was to grow old with you, and look at me. No, I mean really look at me. I'm doing my part here. You need to step it up. You need to try and keep up. Let's cut back on sunscreen. Talk to my mom about fashion tips. Kind of let's get there. It's starting to get weird. People are asking questions. My children, Connor and Jessica, who are God's greatest gift to me, Connor surprised me by flying in from Boston just to be here tonight, just to be here to support. He's finishing a degree in computer science, and I'm sorry, computer hardware engineering, and right. Resumes are being passed around now, so go ahead and take one and pass the rest to your neighbor. And my daughter Jessica, who's not here tonight, she's probably either cramming for midterms or most likely deftly throwing a ping pong ball into a red solo cup with the concentration of a Navy SEAL sniper. Tango down, tango down. My parents, who led me to this watery path, and I know it's getting late, so just one more. To the Nordhavn family, this extends to not only the company, but also everybody in and around it. Dan was recently quoted as saying, the company and the community, one can't survive without the other. And I thought that was awesome, and it extends to, the employees, the brand, the families at Tashing that built our memory maker, the Dreamers, the Nordhavn Owners Group. Man, there's some really smart guys in there, and I don't fit in. Yeah. But there's just two more things I want to say. First of all, Joe Sigurdsson, wherever the camera is, Joe Sigurdsson, Executive Director of Boys to Men, this check is for the boys. And if the plight of fatherless boys and at-use risk speaks to you, talk to me. I can help you with that. Last but not least, to all of the Nordhavn dreamers, don't dream small. And all of you guys that have started in on this path and it seems to be moving slow, or it's just getting started, I'm going to tell you something you probably already know. Time is not on your side. And the second thing is that my mother once told me that you will never be 100% ready to do all the really important things in your life. So prepare as best you can, put on a smile, and do it scared. Thanks.
All right, and now if I could have Jeff up here to give the award for Best Documentary.
So, the best documentary goes to yeah. Okay. Crossing the Atlantic in a Wheelchair on a Nordhavn by Felipe Guglielmante. Yes. How do I turn it down?
Oh, there are many people there. Wow. Can I speak French? Okay, okay. I will make the effort to speak in English, okay? If you don't understand me, you smile. If you understand me, you smile, okay? Then, I want to say the prize for the documentary should go to Nordhavn, not to me, because I've watched, I think, 40 times, perhaps 50 times, the video, the film they made 18 years ago about crossing the Atlantic. And what I've done is exactly the same thing. I've went to Bermuda, and I went to Azores, and then I finished through the Strait of Gibraltar, as they have done 18 years before. Then I want to thank Nordhavn for that. And I want to thank all of you, and please keep on watching live.
Very good.
So Jeff, why don't you stay up here, and Jim and Dan, why don't you all come up for the grand prize? So finally, it's time for the grand prize for the evening, selected by you, our audience. Gentlemen, please, come, you're there. So if you could choose one of you to open the envelope for the grand prize. This Nordy is yet ungraved, but it will be engraved with the winner's name. And this is for the People's Choice for the grand prize tonight, along with $10,000.
All right. Nordapedia. Yes. Yes.
It's all right. It's like an anchor.
Okay, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna have Alexa speak in a minute.
It was made by Nordhavn. It's fine.
It's like 87 pounds.
So we have to, figure out who's gonna put which one on their boat.
This one goes on
This
your
is
boat.
called Live Aboard Special, because we're liveaboards. Thank you, gentlemen, for our spectacular boats and everything they do, and they keep us safe. And I was telling somebody earlier today that our boats are much more than boats. They have their own souls, and they are a part of our family, and we love them. And you all are a part of our family, and it's been I don't know, it's been really pretty amazing, and we had so much fun doing this, and it was really cool to reach out and say to our mostly West Coast friends, but now Kevin and I are on the East Coast, so we've got East Coast friends now too, to say, hey, you know, you want to do this video with us? And I can't tell you what it's about, but please send us some stuff, and I promise you'll like it. And so everybody here that was in the video saw it for the first time tonight, and we sent the link to the people who aren't here so that they got to see it finally too. But thank you for voting for us, and you absolutely made our year. So thank you.
I don't need to speak.
She needs to speak.
I don't need to speak, but these guys, this was a team effort of 4 people, really. Allison and I are on it, but we needed lots.
We made them help.
We needed lots of feedback when we were coming up with vocabulary, and you would be amazed at the list of 87 words that we came up with, and narrowed it down to that so we could do just 10 minutes. But narrator guy here and lots of guy feedback over here with Kevin. We'll see what we come up with next year.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sorry we dropped it. All right. It's so heavy. It's so heavy.
Thank you.
Yeah, well. Hey, Dan, before you leave the stage, just one last comment. The Padres won. So somebody had to tell you.
Did you enjoy that?
I don't even know who they are,
So
where
how
they
can
come from.
How can a team win 111 games in a season? It's not right.
Well, that about wraps it up for the 2nd annual Nordhavn Film Festival. I suspect that this won't be the last event. Based on the extraordinary quality of this year's films, you had better get started early if you're going to be in the running for next year's awards. My great thanks to our judges, the Nordhavn staff who had the brilliant idea to have a film festival, and especially the 10 filmmakers who worked so diligently on their dramatic films. Until next year, good night.